Step into a world where power, family legacy, and public image shaped relationships far more than personal feelings ever could. Welcome to Empress Secrets, where we unearth the hidden truths of history's most captivating eras. If you're passionate about diving deep into the past and uncovering stories that shaped civilizations, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to Empress Secrets for more enthralling content. Let's inspire each other to explore history's untold tales. Hit that subscribe button and join our community of truth seekers. In ancient Rome, marriage was less a personal vow between two hearts and more a strategic alliance, a contract between families designed to secure political ties, social standing, and influence. Loyalty, in the romantic sense, was not expected. Roman husbands were not only allowed but expected to be unfaithful, with affairs being common, accepted, and often public, especially with courtesans known for their beauty, wit, and companionship. Intriguingly, men in Rome also had romantic and sexual relationships with other men, seen as normal and respectable, without the rigid labels of today like gay or straight. Romans focused on power dynamics rather than gender, with the dominant partner maintaining masculine status, while the passive role, associated with femininity, could draw criticism if taken by an adult man. To understand Roman love, desire, and identity, we must shed modern frameworks as marriage, sex, power, and status were intertwined in a system prioritizing control and strategy over emotion. In typical man-woman relationships, men were the dominant initiators, givers, protectors, while women were expected to be submissive, roles embedded in society's foundation as a performance of status. Same-sex relationships followed similar dynamics, with pederasty, a Greek-inspired mentorship between an older man, Erastes, and a teenage boy, Erminos, seen as a form of education and social elevation, not just physical connection. Yet, even powerful men defied norms, like Julius Caesar, rumored to prefer submissive roles in same-sex relationships, sparking confusion and gossip in a culture obsessed with control. Emperor Hadrian rewrote love's rules, adoring young Antinous, ensuring his education, and immortalizing him after his mysterious death in the Nile by building Antinopolis, commissioning statues, and declaring him a god, an unprecedented act. Emperor Nero shocked Rome by marrying men twice, once as the bride to Pythagoras and later as the groom to Sporus, balancing personal passion with public performance. Disturbingly, Nero had Sporus castrated to maintain a traditional marriage illusion, reflecting a cruel pattern in his relationships. Scandalous rumors, like Nero's alleged incest with his mother Agrippina the Younger, were likely political slander to ruin his reputation, showing how far Romans went to discredit rulers. Emperor Tiberius, retreating to Capri, faced rumors of indulgent behavior with a young entourage, likely exaggerated by rivals to shape his legacy. Marriage was a political tool, as seen in Octavian's strategic union with Livia Drusilla, while women like Agrippina the Elder wielded influence within societal constraints. Same-sex relationships extended beyond elites to soldiers and commoners, with graffiti in Pompeii hinting at everyday affection. Courtesans and prostitutes, like Cytheris, navigated a precarious status, valued for wit, but never fully accepted. Despite strategic alliances, love and grief were real, seen in Hadrian's devotion and funerary inscriptions revealing deep affection. Reputation was everything, with scandals used to destroy rulers like Nero and Tiberius. Let's dive deeper into the complexities of Roman relationships and their lasting impact, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Empress Secrets to keep uncovering these stories. Roman society was a tapestry of hierarchy, where every relationship, marital, romantic, or political, was a calculated move to maintain or elevate status. Beyond the elite, ordinary Romans navigated similar dynamics, though their stories are less documented. In the bustling streets of Rome, relationships were a public affair, with social expectations dictating behavior. For instance, the concept of concubinage allowed men to maintain long-term relationships with women outside marriage, often freed slaves or lower-class women, without the legal obligations of a wife. These relationships, while socially accepted, reinforced the power imbalance, as concubines had little legal standing compared to wives. Yet, some concubines, like Caenis, the mistress of Emperor Vespasian, gained significant influence, advising their partners and navigating the political landscape. This duality, publicly submissive, privately powerful, mirrored the roles of elite women like Livia, who shaped the empire while maintaining the facade of a virtuous matron. If these power plays fascinate you, hit that like button, share this video, and subscribe to Empress Secrets to explore more. The role of women in Roman relationships was complex and multifaceted. While men held overt power, women could wield significant influence through strategic marriages and alliances. Fulvia, the wife of Mark Antony, was a formidable figure, raising armies and negotiating political deals during the turbulent years of the Second Triumvirate. Her influence, however, came with scrutiny, as Roman society expected women to remain within the bounds of traditional roles. Women who stepped too far, like Clodia Metelli, faced accusations of immorality and scandal. Clodia, immortalized in the poetry of Catullus as Lesbia, was celebrated for her beauty and intellect, but vilified for her alleged affairs and independence. These stories highlight the double standards of Roman society. Men could engage in extramarital relationships with little consequence, while women risked exile or worse. Yet, women found ways to assert agency, whether through political maneuvering or by leveraging their roles as mothers and wives. The story of Cornelia Africana, mother of the Gracchi brothers, exemplifies this. She was revered as the ideal Roman mother, educating her sons to become reformers who challenged the status quo. Can you imagine the strength it took to navigate such a world? Let's keep exploring. Like, share, and subscribe to Empress Secrets. Same-sex relationships were not confined to the elite or to pederastic arrangements. In the Roman military, bonds between soldiers were common, forged in the camaraderie of camps and campaigns. These relationships, often undocumented, likely followed the same power dynamics, with older or higher-ranking soldiers assuming dominant roles. Archaeological evidence, such as inscriptions and graffiti, offers glimpses into these bonds. In Pompeii, for example, graffiti declares love between men in terms both affectionate and crude, suggesting that same-sex affection was part of everyday life. These relationships, while less visible than those of emperors, were no less significant, reflecting the fluidity of Roman sexual norms. Among slaves, too, relationships formed, though their lack of autonomy meant such bonds were often exploited by masters. The story of Sporus, Nero's young partner, is a stark reminder of this. His castration and marriage to Nero were less about love and more about control, a public performance to reinforce Nero's dominance. If these hidden stories intrigue you, like, share, and subscribe to Empress Secrets to uncover more. Courtesans and prostitutes occupied a unique space in Roman society. Unlike wives, who were expected to embody virtue and produce heirs, courtesans were valued for their independence, wit, and charm. Women like Praxagora, a fictional courtesan in Roman comedies, were celebrated for their ability to captivate powerful men, but real-life courtesans faced a precarious existence. They could amass wealth and influence, yet their status remained outside respectable society. Male prostitutes, too, were common, serving both men and women in Rome's urban centers. Brothels, like those excavated in Pompeii, reveal the scale of the sex trade, with slaves often forced into the role. Yet, some sex workers achieved freedom and status, using their earnings to buy their liberty or gain favor with powerful clients. These stories of resilience and survival show that even in a society rigid with hierarchy, individuals found ways to carve out their own paths. Let's keep digging into these tales. Like, share, and subscribe to Empress Secrets. Love and grief were powerful forces in Roman life, despite the emphasis on strategy and status. Beyond Hadrian's devotion to Antinous, ordinary Romans expressed deep affection in funerary inscriptions, poetry, and art. A tombstone from the 2nd century CE reads, "To my beloved husband, who was my light and joy for 30 years." Such inscriptions reveal that love could flourish within the constraints of societal expectations. Grief, too, was universal. Parents mourned lost children, spouses grieved partners, and friends honored companions. The poet Ovid, exiled for his scandalous writings, wrote poignantly of his longing for his wife and home, showing that even in a society obsessed with power, human connection mattered. Public displays of grief, like Hadrian's deification of Antinous, were rare but not unique. Wealthy Romans often commissioned elaborate tombs or statues to honor loved ones, ensuring their memory endured. These emotional glimpses into Roman life remind us that beneath the grandeur of empire were people with hearts as complex as our own. If this moves you, like, share, and subscribe to Emperor Secrets to keep exploring. Reputation was a currency more valuable than gold in Rome, and scandals were weapons wielded with precision. Beyond Nero's rumored incest, emperors like Caligula faced accusations of debauchery, including inappropriate relationships with family members or excessive indulgence. While many of these stories were likely exaggerated by rivals, they highlight the Roman obsession with public image. A ruler's personal life was never private. It was a stage for political theater, where every choice could be scrutinized or weaponized. Emperor Domitian, for example, was criticized for his aloofness and rumored affairs, which his enemies used to paint him as a tyrant. Yet, Domitian's devotion to his wife, Domitia Longina, was well documented, showing the tension between public perception and private reality. For women, reputation was even more precarious. Figures like Messalina, Claudius's wife, were accused of rampant affairs and political scheming, though these claims may have been amplified to justify her execution. The power of slander in Rome reveals a society where truth was secondary to perception, and legacy was shaped by those who controlled the narrative. Isn't it wild how much a single rumor could change history? Like, share, and subscribe to Emperor Secrets to dive deeper. The Roman legal system further reinforced the hierarchy of relationships. Laws like the Lex Julia de Adulteriis imposed harsh penalties on women for adultery, while men faced little consequence. Inheritance laws prioritized legitimate heirs, ensuring that marriages served the family's legacy over personal desires. Slaves, who had no legal rights to marry, could form contubernum, a recognized but non-binding union, often at the whim of their masters. These laws underscore the Roman view of relationships as tools for social order, yet they also sparked resistance. Women like Clodia and men like Nero challenged these norms, whether through bold actions or public defiance, showing that even in a rigid system, individuals sought to assert their desires. The tension between law and personal agency is a recurring theme in Roman history, from the elite to the enslaved. Let's keep uncovering these stories, like, share, and subscribe to Emperor Secrets. Religion and mythology also shaped Roman attitudes toward love and relationships. Gods like Venus, the goddess of love, and Cupid, her mischievous son, were central to Roman culture, their stories woven into art and literature. Myths like that of Orpheus and Eurydice spoke to the power of love and loss, resonating with Romans who faced similar emotions. Religious festivals, such as the Lupercalia, celebrated fertility and desire, with rituals that encouraged romantic pursuits. Yet, religion also reinforced social norms. Priestesses like the Vestal Virgins were expected to remain chaste, their virginity a symbol of Rome's purity. Violating this sacred duty could lead to execution, showing the high stakes of defying societal expectations. These religious underpinnings reveal how deeply love and power were intertwined in Roman life, with divine stories mirroring human struggles. If you're fascinated by this blend of myth and reality, like, share, and subscribe to Emperor Secrets. The legacy of Roman relationships extends beyond the empire, influencing modern views of love, power, and identity. The fluidity of Roman sexual norms, particularly in same-sex relationships, challenges contemporary assumptions about rigid categories. The strategic nature of Roman marriages echoes in historical dynasties and even modern political alliances. The stories of Hadrian, Nero, Caesar, and countless others remind us that human emotions, love, grief, ambition, are timeless, even if expressed through the lens of a different culture. At Emperor Secrets, We're dedicated to bringing these stories to life, peeling back the layers of history to reveal the people behind the empire. If you've enjoyed this journey through ancient Rome, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Empress Secrets. Your support fuels our mission to explore the past and inspire curiosity. Let's keep the conversation going. Hit that subscribe button and join our community of history lovers. Stay curious, stay inspired, and we'll see you in the next video.